just count from 5 till 1. So I'm really excited actually. Now it's my
4,
first live.
3, 2, 1.
Great. Hi to everyone and welcome to Max Project Facebook Live series. My name is Hyder Al Khasma and I will be the host for this session. Today's topic is about migrant entrepreneurship. Together with my guests, we are going to discuss the importance of immigrant entrepreneurs for the European economy. How can we manage a better integration with entrepreneurship, the potentials, opportunities, risks came with immigrants? And last but not least, some interesting entrepreneurial achievements from the country that I represent, namely Sweden. I have two distinguished guests today with me, Mr. Adem Kumcu, President of the Unity from Brussels, and Mr. Tolga from BU organization from Germany. Before we start, would you mind a brief introduction of yourself, my dear guests, so the listeners will better know about you? Mr. Kumcu, we can start with you.
My name is Adem Kumcu. I am the president of Unity, the new European Business Confederation. We are based in Brussels and we are quite a unique organization representing migrant entrepreneurs from 24 different European countries.
Great, thank you, Mr. Kumcu. And Tolga?
Yes, my name is Tolga. I'm from Germany. I'm working with BUV. It's an entrepreneur association, which is based in Berlin. Right now, I'm studying law and hopefully will be finishing this in the upcoming months. And today I'm joining with Mr. Kumcu and Mr. Khasma.
Great, thank you, Mr. Kumcu, Mr. Tolga, for being with us today. Now we can continue with the agenda. I think I have prepared a PowerPoint presentation regarding the immigrant entrepreneurs from Sweden. I will briefly start with that, if it's okay, Mr. Kumcu. Then I will give you the floors and we will end the session with the 1 or 3 questions maybe that can be interesting for these sessions. Now I will try to share my PowerPoint presentation actually, if I can find it. Whiteboard and files, maybe from, does it have to be in the, yes, with these kind of technical difficulties, actually, I'm very interesting. I don't know if I can manage to do it. But I will try to find maybe this one. Do you see something?
We see your screen.
My screen. It's great. It's an advancement. And now it should be the presentation here somewhere. Actually, now do you see something?
Yes, sure. You're welcome.
Great, we did it. I'm very happy actually. That's today's topic, migrant entrepreneurship, stories from Sweden. The agenda that we already talked about, so I just skip it. Now the MAX, I would like to talk very shortly about the MAX, which we are part of this consortium. Sweden is a partner of the MAX together with the other 20 organizations, partners from 15 local organizations. The aim of the MAX project is to change public attitudes towards immigrants by changing narratives around immigration discourse, storytelling, creating positive messages for the media, and create a dialogue between the stakeholders are the main objective of this project. The project includes reports from 50 success stories, reports, 15 dialogue diversity fora, programs, and 20 key messages for the European Commission. Yes, it has been 2.5 years, and as an organization, Sveduk, and I myself, I'm very proud to be a part of this huge consortium and have the chance to contribute to this subject, actually. Now I will come with some stories, Mr. Kumcu, Mr. Tolga, about Sweden, actually. These have been very popular in the recent years and recent months, maybe. That's what I want to share as an immigrant entrepreneurs and what they have achieved, actually, in Sweden. Yesterday, I was invited to an awards program, actually, organized by Swedish Israel Chamber of Commerce. They organize such kind of events as Sweden organized before, and then nominate some entrepreneurs who have contributed to economic integration between Israel and Sweden. And this guy, Taher Nuri, was an interesting figure, actually. That's why I want to take it with this presentation. And not his personally, but his company was interesting, actually. Taher came to Sweden when he was 2 years old. And in 2016, with one of his colleagues, they figured out that now we all talk about the digitalizations, digital advancement, and such kind of things. But they figured out that the older generation cannot catch up with these trends. So in a sense, they feel outcasts. So to find a solution, they come up with the idea, why not we don't help create a company, so can provide such kind of helps to these kind of guys who cannot have time or capabilities. So they create this company. This company help people with technical problems, like starting from TV setup, sound system setups, hardware solutions, downloading app, using apps, and sound. And according to him, he says, we make technology more sustainable, fun, and accessible to everyone. So this company helps in two sides. First, matching the talents outside the label market with the people who needs it. So it's an easy way for the newcomers with such kind of technical capability to enter the market. But also it's a good side job opportunity for people who have these kind of capabilities, and at the same time, they want to do it as a side job. Yes, they are operating in four countries, even although they have just established in 2016, and now they have accomplished more than 60,000 missions since 2016. Taher Nuri, an interesting figure, he mentioned that I'm an immigrant guy. That's why I use this term about him. Was in an interesting figure that I want to take with me. The other one is the Jayz. These guys, Hussein Murat and Hassan Basri, came to Sweden in 2016. And they produced this product, Jayz, the smart Judens meter. As you know, Judens is difficult to diagnose, but there are 20 million babies at highest risk in the world, and 30% of deaths are associated with this. The traditional solutions are painful and expensive, and Hussein himself experienced it with his baby, actually. Then they come up with this idea as IT guys and data guys together, and they produce this Jayz product, affordable software solutions. They have achieved a lot, actually. They received Silicon Vikings Award, and they got some funds from Swedbank and many other incubators here in Sweden. They are now doing the last clinical tests with Royal Technology Institute, and they already have contact in Silicon Valley, but now their market value is estimated, according to them, is about $20 million. And they just established the company in 2017. And the third one that I want to mention is the Gunilla von Platt. And an interesting figure actually has become known by me and by now Swedish society, actually, with this book, Draken in the Room, the Drake in the Room. Gunilla Anip, she came to Sweden in late 1970s, but became a super entrepreneur, and she is at the top of Swedish business world, actually. She's an entrepreneur, philanthropist, business leader. In 2000, she started a company named Exacts, but this company was sold to Transcom Worldwide for million crowns, actually, in 2011. She was selected as Entrepreneur of the Year in 2006 by Ernst & Young. And in 2015, she got the Royal Patriotic Society Business Medal from Swedish King, actually. I have read the book. It was interesting for two perspectives, actually. One is she is to see, actually, not only as an immigrant, but as a woman, how the society, business world works for women entrepreneurs. It was interesting, and I will take it with me, actually. Not all entrepreneurs has to be high-tech, actually, like the case of Hyder Al Khasma. He came as a refugee from Iraq in 1990s. He dreamed to be a lawyer. When he finished his studies, he decided to continue with his father's job, actually. He was a grocer. And his father always told to him that most things in society can stop, but never food sales. So with this advice in his mind, and it proved to be right with the pandemic processes we experienced actually, he made a market research, 1 million consumers with ethnic backgrounds. He figured out every year around 60 million kilos of rice worth 1.6 billion SEK, which is 160 million euro actually, are consumed in Sweden. And he wanted to take a market share of this. With his company, now they have turned over around 10 million euros, and they are growing aggressively in 2025. The sales, they estimate to be 50 million euros. Last but not least, this is an interesting example for Bashar, from Bashar also. He came to Sweden as a refugee in 2015, learned the language in 6 months, and get his first job in 8 months. Bashar started as an intern with this company, Morakniv, who the company that want to contribute to integration of refugees. And he proved to be an gold person, if I might say. He proved to be very successful, and in 1 year he became the sales manager and increased the export to the Middle East 10 times. Maybe there are such examples, Mr. Kumju and Mr. Tolga, like Bashar in many ways, but I would like to name in this presentation, because for two reasons. One is the Morakniv, the company, they give him a chance. They didn't stuck with the traditional prejudgments. They give him a chance, and they succeeded actually. This is, I think, that I want to discuss later with Mr. Kumju. Maybe you can take as a question now. How can we encourage these companies to overcome their judgments and give the newcomers the chance? So it's very beneficial, not only for the newcomers, but for the company itself and for the economy of the host country, actually. And the second one, Bashar, he could have been just a sales manager and continue his way, but he chose another path, actually. That's the second reason that I want to take him in this presentation. And he became a social entrepreneur. He doesn't want to be like ensam, as they call in Sweden, like flying alone. Now he came back and he now helped the newcomers to find better ways in Swedish society. With all these examples, now I'm done with the presentation, but I want to, the reason that I want to say, I have heard this in a very interesting conference I have attended years ago. There says, they say like immigrants are not a liability for the host society. If we change the discourse and the point that we look, they can be a very important asset for the host society. Thank you for listening to me. I don't want to keep you much waiting, Mr. Kumju. Now the floor is yours, Mr. Adem.
Now, thank you so much, Kenan, for this fantastic and inspiring introduction. To be honest, I like when people see things other people don't want to see. And, you know, I like to cite something: change the way you look at things, and the things you look at will change, is my motto. I lived for 15 years in France, 21 years in the Netherlands, 10 years in Brussels, and I am born in Turkey and I lived there for 9 years. Changing from one country to another means trying to understand not only the acquiring the linguistic skills of these countries, but also having and developing a kind of cultural sensitivity in appreciating diversity. You know, in France, there is a well-known writer, Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. He has written a fantastic book, which is now globally well-known, Le Petit Prince, The Small Prince. And there is a passage there where Antoine de Saint-Exupéry says, on ne voit bien qu'avec le cœur, l'essentiel est invisible aux yeux. We can only see well through the eyes of our hearts, not through the eyes of our head. If we are able to look through the eyes of our hearts, we will see the enormous potential of diversity. In general, we see in migrants the causes of problems, a kind of deficiency model and a deficiency approach towards approaching these newcomers to Europe. If we look at them not through this deficiency paradigm or a moral duty paradigm, but if we look at them from the divinity of diversity paradigm, then I think we can change the face of Europe. We can change the narrative, because it all begins about the paradigmatic way we are looking at events, at facts, because our experience will change when we will learn to look through this prism. You can cite many, 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 many examples. Silicon Valley without diversity is unimaginable. You will never have a Silicon Valley without the huge diversity, ethnic diversity, cultural diversity of entrepreneurs in this part of the world. Why do we have Silicon Valley there and not here at the European Union? Simply because we don't want to look at diversity as a fantastic potential in a time of globalization, in a time of digitalization, in a time in this transition 20s, as we used to call it. If we want to have a future for Europe, we need to understand that diversity is our power. We have a fantastic motto here in Brussels, united in diversity, but we have forgotten it for so many years. We need to put this in practice. We need to be united in diversity. I can cite many, many examples of these young talents. The question, your first question, how to valorize colorful talents? But before answering the how, why do we have to valorize this colorful talent is, in my meaning, even more important. The world is changing, competition there is changing, digital revolution is changing everything. These are time of speed, and the pace of change is faster and faster, and Europe needs to position itself again on the global map, if I may say. And the only way to do it is by being able to attract talents from different other countries to become a talent magnet. If we want to become a talent magnet, we need to see diversity as a positive input for our societies. Why do we need this? Not only because of global competition, but because aging is a huge problem for this continent. The average age in Europe is 42. It will become 52 by 2050. In Germany, the average age is now 46, and it will be 56 by 2050. We need young, fresh talents and diverse talents, because diversity is also essential for an innovative and creative economy. If we love Europe, and personally, I love Europe very much, not because of my blood or whatever, not because of my origin, but because I love the European values, which is trying to unite us in our diversity. 75 years of peace in this region, where we had the First World War and the Second World War, is something so essential and crucial. If we want to build a sustainable future for the next generation, we need to embrace and celebrate diversity. When people feel welcome, they are the most creative. And we know it when we see diversity management in companies. If we are at city level, able to stimulate supportive ecosystems and inclusive supportive ecosystems. I'm not talking about marginalizing people. I'm not talking about ghettoization. I'm not talking about stigmatization. I'm not talking about positive discrimination. When you respect people, you are including them as natural actors and natural citizens in your cities, in your municipalities, in your countries. When I feel home, when I feel home, then I will invest in my home. We may have different origins, but we have common future. We need to understand that these people don't need extra support. They only need to be seriously respected, listened, and connected. Put them together with other people, respect them as human beings. They don't expect more than this, and they will, with meritocracy, show us that being a migrant means at least being bicultural, bilinguistic. It means having the courage to move from one country to another. And you know that if you are risk averse, you will never become an entrepreneur. Taking these risks, creating new bridges between cultures, this is the future. And I hope for Europe, for my beloved Europe, that we will understand this very rapidly. We have a lot of people who understood this, but the last years we have, how can I say, populistic behavior, opportunistic behavior from some political movements in Europe, dangerous movements. We know what happened in the Second World War. Fascism is not dead. Dictatorism is not dead. It's still alive. And some people would like to put this fire again. And my message is, let's embrace diversity. Let's start by looking through the eyes of our hearts. Let's love each other, and I mean it seriously. We may be very intelligent, but if there is no marriage between our brains and our hearts, we will never become a respectful civilization where people feel at ease and want to invest in their common future.
Thank you, Mr. Adem, for this celebration. The words that I will take with me today from you is going to be actually respecting and listening and giving the chance actually to present themselves. Maybe Mr. Tolga have any questions, because we are about to run out of our time, just 5 minutes left. Tolga, the floor is yours if you have any question to Mr. Adem.
I just wanted to add, like, I literally got in the last 10 minutes, I guess, every 2 minutes, some goosebumps, right? Because of all the nuggets, the gold nuggets I want to tell, say, because I just made some notes, and maybe for those who are listening, who maybe I couldn't have the chance to see or hear or make mental notes, these are just a few simple sentences, but they are so powerful. That's why maybe I want to emphasize them, because the first sentence, or the point where I really started to pay attention and write the stuff down, is the first sentence was, change the way you look at things, and the things you look at will change. So this sentence seems to be so simple, but it's so powerful, because how you look defines your world. So the world is not objective at all. It's completely subjective. So if you look at it in a good way, things will appear good. If you have glasses which have black lines in it, you will see the world with black lines. You will think the world has black lines. If you remove them, the world is clear again. So this was extremely powerful. And the next one is, why is more important than how, and not in a lot of cases. So before we ask how, ask why, because if you find the why, you will find a lot of ways how to do stuff. And when people, especially migrants in this case, feel welcome, they are the most creative. And that's, I think, a very important statement. And when they feel home, then they will also invest in their home. And in this case, and the last one would be that every migrant has already taken like a huge risk by coming to another country. And in this case, that's already a kind of an entrepreneurship-like treat, right? So there, some of them, or all of them, already took a huge risk, which a lot of people wouldn't do. And in that case, they already have somehow gained an experience of taking risks and going all in if they have to. So these were the nuggets which I desperately wanted to share, because, like as I said, I found them very, very powerful. And maybe last but not least in my case, so I just to ask a small but simple question would be, we know that Mr. Kumju is a social and an active promoter of social and cultural entrepreneurship. This sounds like very interesting. So you wouldn't hear that social and cultural entrepreneurship. Maybe you could give us an insight what this could mean in this context of the European Union.
We know all that we have now developed a technology like artificial intelligence. You know, in the Industrial Revolution, we had a lot of machines doing a lot of power jobs for us. Today, we have been able to develop machines who can calculate for us, who can even sometimes decide for us. But the human ability, this creativity, which is the color of culture, if I may say, even intercultural creativity, the co-creative process is typically human. And in this sense, I think we will have a lot of time within 10 years. We need to think about what will we do when artificial intelligence and big data and robots will do the other job. We will have to focus on cultural and social creativity and social and cultural entrepreneurship. It will be a time of creative, how can I say, pleasure in a way. I feel this pleasure, and we know that when artists, when poets, when writers all are working, they have such a passion for what they are doing. To be honest, I think what we need to give to young generations is this love of beauty, this love of aesthetics, this love and interest in other cultures, and back to the roots, from the roots to the future, if I may say. It's not about the destination, it's really about the journey, which excites me. And cultural entrepreneurs, maybe in another program we can develop this topic, because there are many so interesting individuals out of there. And it's not anymore about I as an island, but we as a Wieland, if I may say. It's time to inspire each other and create something together in a collective way. My apologies for the abstract level of my presentation, but you know, I'm not pessimistic about the future. I don't fear artificial intelligence. I don't fear technology. I don't have any technophobia. I think technology has helped the human being always in a positive way, but we need to decide on how to make use of it. It's an enormous responsibility. It's not anymore about it's not anymore about science. It's time for wisdom. We need to help young generations to develop the wisdom and the exchange of wisdom. That's my answer.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kumju. Tolga, do you have any other questions?
I think, I don't know if we're within our time limit. I think
we are done with this session. Just half an hour was it. I would like to thank you both, Mr. Kumju and Mr. Tolga, and I hope we can meet in another occasion and we develop this social cultural entrepreneurship and discuss in a more detailed way. I would like to thank you all for being with me today, not letting me alone, and it was very fruitful for me. Actually, I learned a lot, as always. Thank you again, and have a nice day, I can say to you.
You too. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.